Welcome to Fouts Boxing Theory. In this faux film study, we're going to be taking a look at the circumstances surrounding Lomachenko versus George Kambosos. And we're going to take a look at his box rec right now and kind of look at, okay, fought a guy with 18 fights in his first fight. Respectable, right? That's respectable, right, guys? Then in his next fight, he fought a guy with 65 fights. Wow, it's pretty impressive. Fought his first undefeated fighter, 4 fights in. Jeez, taking big risks here. Let's see how this guy's career panned out. Okay, all right. Didn't wind up being the champion. We all thought he was going to be there. Okay, 1-17. Knocks this guy out in the first round. Let's see if this guy ever becomes champion. Okay, 2-24. Nope, he only picks up one more win. He doubles his wins after fighting Kambosos. That's how much better of a fighter he becomes. But he fights a guy 13-8, 12-5, 22-6. A guy with 21 fights and this many fights. And here you go, fights a guy who's got 18 fights, 17-1. Not bad. Let's take a look at how his record turned out. Okay, all right. 22-3, not bad. Okay, not bad. Still on his grind. Okay, all right. 11-1. Okay, decent. Okay, goes to 15-1 with a draw. Still beating the decent guys over there. Got a guy who's 25-2. He KOs this guy. Oh shit! What happened to this guy's record? He was not even that bad a second ago. Okay, picked up a couple of losses right there. All right, now let's check out J.R. Magbu. Right, this guy's got a good record. Man, maybe he goes on to become world champion. This was in 2018. Right, let's take a look at what he does. Right, 17-1 all the way to. Oh my God! Wow, he went 1-10 in his next however many fights. Look at that. That's impressive. Loss. Okay, fascinating. All right, now we're going to move up into some of the more notable fights, right? In 2019, we got Kambosos fighting Mickey Bay. Now, split decision, okay? Split decision. Interesting, which means he was losing on one card right here, 94, 95. He was winning here. He was winning here pretty big, pretty big. Maybe this is the realest card. Who knows? Maybe these two are the realest. Bay down in round 10. All right, I don't know how George Kambosos knocks a dude down in round 10. I don't know how that happens. So it's very interesting. But if that doesn't happen, this fight's a draw, right? He's going to lose that point for not winning the point. He's going to win the round, and then he's not going to lose a point for going down. Looks like a draw, right? If he wins the round. I don't know if Mickey Bay was winning the round, but that's like not that great against who? Mickey Bay, right? Lost to Kambosos, basically retired. Like, when was he fighting? He had fought, what, one time since 2016? 2016, he fights in 2018, fights for one round against a complete bum, and then he goes and fights George Kambosos, right? Okay, whatever. All right, George Kambosos' next fight against Lee Selby. All right, let's take a look at that. Another split decision. Okay, well, it was in Wembley, so Selby's arena, right? So maybe it's like a ripoff, who cares, right? Another split decision, no big deal. He gets a title shot off of fighting Lee Selby. Okay, Lee Selby's, 28-4 now. Couple losses in a row. Not to bad fighters or anything, but as we get over to Teofimo Lopez, this is when it all sort of paid off for Kambosos. Another split decision. Okay. Now, he barely gets credit for winning this fight. I thought he lost. I thought Teofimo won the fight pretty easily. But, chasing Kambosos down, Kambosos running, Kambosos doesn't want to fight. Kambosos shouldn't be getting credit for winning rounds if he's not fighting. But Teofimo Lopez elects to move up after this fight and doesn't actually fight for a rematch, take a rematch. I don't know if he wanted one or this or that. But Kambosos, for some reason now, has all the gold. Okay? And then he fights Devin Haney. And why? Why is Devin Haney getting this title shot? Does anybody know? Does anybody know who Devin Haney is? He's that guy that I've been saying on my channel is overrated for a very long time and was bound to get knocked out because his defense is bad. His jab is fast, It's, people want to talk shit about the bow and arrow jab, but it's still going to beat 95% of all the fighters that he fights. Like, he's going to get in there with somebody like Sandor Martin and annihilate him and make it look really easy. And then everyone's going to be like, damn, Devin Haney's back. Whoa. But it's like, not really. Sandor Martin's not the kind of guy that's going to be able to take advantage of the kind of flaws that Devin Haney has. The kind of flaws that Devin Haney has, the fighters are some of the most common flaws that fighters have. And like someone said it best on my channel, Arturo Gatti is a common fighter, right? Devin Haney's a common fighter. He's just faster than them. He's just a faster, common fighter, but there's nothing spectacular about what he does. But why did he get the title shot to fight for all of the belts, right? Okay. Why, after Haney beat him, and easily, look at these scores, 8 rounds to 4, right? Look at this. How many rounds? Unreal, 10 rounds. And they had an immediate rematch, okay? And this is, number one, this is half of what's wrong with boxing, okay? There's no real regulation. Why is George Kambosos winning the titles here and then not defending them for 6 months here? And then why is Devin Haney winning the belts here and then not defending them till here? And then look at how much longer, again, Kambosos fights, right? Takes all this time. He just lost his titles. Why is he getting the fight for a title against Maxie Hughes anyway? Why? How did he possibly deserve that? He didn't deserve the title shots that he had with Teofimo Lopez. Or rather, winning the fight. He didn't deserve that. And then he got clearly beat twice in a row, clearly dominated. The belts are held hostage for years, right? And this is one of the biggest problems with all of boxing, okay? How many stars do we have in the 154-pound division? Well, all of a sudden, it sounds like a lot. It feels like a lot because Crawford went there, and then Spence is going there. And we all know who Crawford and Spence are. And we've got Tim Tszyu, right? But like, Fundora's been there. Lubin's been there. Brian Castaño's been there. All these guys have been there in the 154-pound division. They've been there for a long time. But why don't we know about them? Because they don't get big fights. Because the only big fights that exist are fights for the title. And they're all corrupt. They're all corrupt. Maxie Hughes easily outpointed Kambosos, but Kambosos, for some reason, gets to be such a company man. Split decision win, split decision win, split decision win. Everybody knew he was going to lose to Haney. He should have known it himself. But Jermell Charlo was the biggest star in the 154-pound division, yet the 154-pound division is one of the most invisible divisions in boxing. Because the belts they're never defended. How long did Jermell Charlo sit on the sidelines waiting for a fight against Canelo Alvarez? Same thing with Jamal. These are big, freakishly athletic and strong, and I don't want to say entertaining, because sometimes they put on stinkers. It's not like they're like, but these guys are big, strong, athletic dudes. And like, not that nobody knows who they are, but they're not forced to defend their titles. So the divisions that they're in are stagnant, are crappy. Nobody knows who any of the best fighters are, but we've got a freak like Fundora, right? And who is he? Casual boxing fans, do they even know who he is? But this is a massive problem, okay? And here's the thing is, this is not a problem that's new. This is not a new problem. This is an old problem. This is a problem. Here we go. This is a problem that's been here for a long time, where the people who own the titles right? The people who want to be friends with the promoters, right? The fighter gets screwed, okay? The sanctioning body and Top Rank figuring out a way to buy the judges so that we had to watch Manny Pacquiao beat Tim Bradley up 3 times. This guy was in a wheelchair after the first fight, broke his own ankles, okay? And somehow got credit, and we were forced to watch this fight hold up Manny Pacquiao's career. How? How? Just real quick, you guys. How are all these belts being fought for? Where's Tank Davis? Where's Tank Davis in all of this? How can so many fights be fought for championship titles in this division? And all these guys, none of these guys see Tank Davis. How is that possible? Anybody who made it through 135 to 140 without fighting Tank Davis is a ducker. And for good reason. Is he a ducker? Is he a ducker? I know he was struggling with the Lomachenko fight to make weight. But that's the reason why these fights are taking so long. That's the reason why the career is so spread out. How could this possibly be for a title fight? Okay? Now, Lomachenko should be fighting Maxie Hughes. Maxie Hughes should have won that fight, and he should have gotten his, world championship itch, that lifelong dream. He trained hard for the camp. He got the right opponent. He did all the right things, and then he got top ranked. Right? He got screwed. Okay, and it changes the history of boxing forever. Just like Lomachenko losing to Teofimo Lopez and not getting his undisputed. That was such a huge fight. If Lomachenko gets undisputed right there and has all the titles, number one, he's going to fight Devin Haney next if Devin Haney wants to fight him. Maybe he fights Ryan Garcia. Maybe he fights with all the belts Tank Davis. Maybe he fights real fighters. But instead, not that it's a bad thing that Teofimo Lopez won, because Teofimo Lopez is a good fighter, but Teofimo Lopez then fought Kambosos. He got robbed. If you don't believe in the robbing stuff or this, maybe it's this, maybe it's that, maybe it's. But it had a massive impact on the fight. Now, why is he winning a fight here and then defending it here? He has all the belts. Okay? And this problem here destroys boxing. And the problem is that these belts, they don't have, right? Because boxing is a business, right? If you want to be the champion, you have to be defending your belt, right? But we've got scrubs, like Canelo. Okay, speak of the devil, right? Here, lost his fight against Golovkin in the first fight. Easily lost the first fight. Changed all of boxing history. Not that having 3 Golovkin versus Canelo fights was a bad thing. But this is the problem with boxing. What happened after that? Well, after Canelo robbed Triple G, he didn't fight him for how many years? And again, that was just bad for boxing. And then we're not getting the best fights. And then all the titles are being held up. And then Canelo moves up in weight. And now he's not at 160 anymore because he has to run from Golovkin. So he's going to go to 168. And he's going to go to 175. And he's going to try to have all these titles. And then he's going to avoid all the fighters. How do you wind up being at 160 forever and never talking about Jamal Charlo? How did that fight take so long? Right? And then we've got, for some reason he has titles. He has mandatories, right? He has mandatories. Okay? These people work their whole lives. Now, what? David Benavidez doesn't get to fight for the titles, but he fought all the bums and beat everyone up and knocked everyone out on the way to moving up in the rankings. So he has a contractual position with the sanctioning bodies. And the sanctioning bodies are so busy sucking Canelo off, letting him just do whatever he wants to do and not just stripping him, not just taking the title and saying, okay, well, you've been inactive. You haven't defended our title in a year. You haven't defended our title in 6 months. How long is a training camp, guys? Well, I know when I have to go to work, right? Back when I used to have a real job, I had to work every day. I didn't just get to take days off, like, hey guys, I'm not going to come in for the next 6 months, okay? uh, and like, granted, having Canelo hold on to the titles is good for them because, again, they're a racket. They're thieves, right? Let's not forget what the sanctioning bodies are. They're people that provide a little bullshit little piece of jewelry for you. They take 8% of your purse, right? 8% or 5% or whatever it was. Is it 2% per belt? 8%? It's a massive amount of money per belt. Okay? Which means these guys all have a vested interest in making sure that the biggest draw holds on to the belts for as long as possible. There's no sense in giving Isaac Cruz the belts. He's not a star. The dude doesn't speak English. Nobody knows who he is. He's exciting and he's fun, and I know who he is, and I like him, and I think he's going to beat a lot of those guys. Ryan Garcia, don't go in there with Isaac Cruz. He's going to take your goddamn head off. He's going to kick your ass. But he's not going to make any of the sanctioning bodies any money, so it doesn't make any sense to give him title fights. It doesn't make any sense for people to seek him out because his marketing is not good, right? Canelo's marketing, super good, even though he didn't speak English for a really long time. He had that fight with Floyd Mayweather, which, by the way, I don't know if people even remember that, but that fight had been marinated for years and years and years. They were talking about him fighting Canelo, way before he actually fought Canelo, years before. Before I had even seen Canelo on any of Mayweather's undercards, and Canelo used to be on all of them. But I digress. Okay. The massive impact that these sanctioning bodies have on not only what the best fights are, the fights that are, but the actual fighters' lives, because they are stealing and ripping them off. Right? Maxie Hughes worked his whole life for that championship, for that opportunity, for that. Okay? And they stole it from him so that they could give that fight to Lomachenko. And now here's the thing. I'm not going to do any content on Lomachenko versus Kambosos. Even if Kambosos surprises the world, knocks Lomachenko out, drops him 5 times, it's the most spectacular, most viewed fight ever, I'm not going to do any content on it. It shouldn't be happening. Maxie Hughes should be getting his title shot. Kambosos should not be getting a title shot. We should not be forced, right? We should not be continually being held hostage by what the networks want to show. Oh, hey, we got this guy Kambosos we really like. Hey, watch him because no, go put that fucking retard on in Australia. Let the Australians watch him beat up bums. Right? We all know Devin Haney was a protected commodity and he couldn't beat that guy. He couldn't do anything with him. He was literally useless. He was worthless. He walked around that guy in circles and didn't throw any punches because he's a bum. And nobody should have to watch that guy fight. But he gets to be in a huge, massive fight. Right? He gets to be in a massive Lomachenko fight for losing here. Right? We got a couple more random robberies here to take a look at here. Some good, favorite robbery. Least favorite? Marvin Hagler versus Sugar Ray Leonard. I thought that Marvin Hagler won this fight. I thought he won it easily. Maybe I got to rewatch it. But it's a very, very famous robbery. And it had a massive impact on boxing. Sugar Ray, or Marvin Hagler retired after that. What else we got here? Okay. Oh, this is a good robbery here. Oh, Haney versus Loma. Another robbery, right? That had a massive impact on all of boxing, right? Well, if Loma won this fight, would Devin Haney move up immediately and fight Ryan Garcia and get knocked out, knocked down a bunch of times and beat up? Probably not. But Lomachenko should have won this fight too, right? Another robbery, another fight. Again, if Lomachenko won this fight, we would not be watching Lomachenko versus Kambosos. We wouldn't be watching it. And we have to watch Kambosos. How many times has this guy, this bum, been forced down our throats? 12 rounds of George Kambosos fight. Jesus Christ. Thank God Lomachenko, he's not quite a finisher. Otherwise he would have finished Haney. He would have finished Comey. I remember I was watching that fight and I saw what he did to Comey, and then I was like, what the person I was watching the fight with, and I was like, he's not going to finish Comey. He's not. He can't. After seeing him beat Comey's ass and knock him down and all this stuff, I knew he wasn't going to be able to finish. He was going to get too tired. And then he didn't. Another fight, another massive robbery that had a massive implication on boxing and all the fights around it. Right? Josh Taylor. What did we learn about that guy? The same thing I've been saying for years about him too. He's a bum. And he didn't deserve the title shot against Teofimo Lopez. Right? And he got annihilated easily. But again, these protected commodities, these protected fights. And then we're forced to watch them fight in higher level fights that they don't deserve. And they get beat up. It's insane. And I think this is the last one here. Oh, wait. Okay. That one wasn't a robbery. Let's get that one out of here. Just kidding, guys. Just kidding. But anyway, I think that it was a huge problem that Kambosos has been gifted so many split decisions, that he's been allowed to be in so many title fights, that so many robberies, right? Like, look at Lomachenko's career. Okay? Arguably beat Devin Haney. In my opinion, he has that win. Arguably beat Teofimo Lopez. I don't remember how I actually scored that or what I thought about it, to be honest. I know it was really close. I do remember that I think that Lomachenko started really slow because he was fucking scared. Arguably beat Teofimo Lopez. Fought Orlando Salido. Arguably beat him. Lomachenko is arguably undefeated. Think about that. That's what a massive impact all this has. And the fact that we still have that one Canelo judge who gave the Canelo fight, the Mayweather Canelo fight to Canelo, that one judge still gets to not only be a part of the community of boxing, right, but gets to make money, gets to affect other people's lives in this play for keeps environment, right? You have all these fighters that get on there and they say, oh, you know what, blah, 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 blah. We risk our lives. We do this, we do that. And it's like, okay, that's true. You guys do risk your lives, and you risk your lives in training camp. You risk your lives on the fight, and you train so hard and you put your body through. And these judges are just allowed to steal from you. Look at Manny Pacquiao's career. Look at how badly that got held up because he had to fight Tim Bradley 3 times. What the fuck was that? Because that was the era where all these promoters were coming out, and all of a sudden you've got Golden Boy, and you've got Top Rank, and you've got this, and you've got, and all they want to do, all these idiots, is have their in-house fights, right? Ruining boxing, right? That was the beginning of when PBC was just coming out, right? There was another recent fight where the guy got annihilated. He was like a straight punching guy, like super poor man's Devin Haney. Got beat up real bad by a guy who could throw rounded punches. Got the decision somehow. But yeah, I think that not only do we as boxing fans need to stop, we need to stop accepting these results. And the sad thing is like, I complain about Kambosos not deserving the fight, and then obviously, like, you have all these Kambosos fans going, I thought he won the fight. No, you're biased. And it's like, man, you're voting for your hometown hero. You're not a boxing fan. Okay? You're a fanboy, right? You like your one guy, you're just getting into the sport. Kambosos is going to get beat up. He's going to retire. And if you still want to watch boxing, you're going to have to pick a new idiot. And if you want, surprise, if you want to be picking a winner, it's probably not going to be a guy from Australia. It's just the way it is. And you're probably going to have to learn something about boxing, learn how to appreciate fighting. Otherwise, you can go to figure skating. You can go watch some of that shit. Okay. But also, this era where fighters just take 6-month long breaks after defending their belts with no injuries. Okay? Every single belt should have on their schedule, this is when our belt is defended. You have this much time. If you do not defend your belt on this date, you will be stripped. Okay? Every single belt. If this is a business, right? What does the UFC have that boxing does not? Has fucking shows every week. Everybody pays attention. Everybody knows the UFC, right? If you pay attention to even a little bit of UFC, you know that it's on every week. It's not hard to keep up with it. Their titles are defended mostly pretty regularly. Jamal Hill, okay, broke his toe or some shit. No, tore his Achilles. He was a light heavyweight champion. Relinquished his belt because he knew he'd get another chance to fight for it later. He didn't hold on to it to become the champion. And look at that. Not that the UFC, they make money off the sanctioning fee because, everybody fights under their banner. It's not like that. It's way worse. But the sanctioning body would get to make money off of all those fights that Alex Pereira fought for the title. Each one of those, ka-ching, right? So what sense, right? Granted, if Canelo fights once a year and he's the biggest fight and you're getting 8% of his purse, right, for holding all those belts, that's better than some idiot who has no money, who makes no money, generates no income, fighting 4 times with it, right? Sure. Okay, maybe. But maybe if Canelo doesn't want to defend the belt, he should have to relinquish the belt and then let someone else fight for it. And then when his lazy ass wants to fight on Floyd Mayweather's boxing days, he can fight on Floyd Mayweather's boxing days for the title. If they're ready, if they'll sanction it. But if these guys don't want to be regular champions, they don't want to defend their belts, right? Because it's not about them. It's about the sport, right? Just like Floyd Mayweather found out. As soon as he stepped away from the sport, he stopped being the great Floyd Mayweather and he started being the exhibition king, fighting guys who have no boxing fights and, and now, desperate to remain relevant, making sure that he can give Ryan Garcia all the helps and all the film studies and all the Osterine he can have to beat Devin Haney, right? Let him watch all that film of Devin Haney getting beat up. How many film studies, how many sparring videos do you think that he actually showed him? Like, not just the ones of Tank Davis beating him up and then getting beat up, which almost happened to Ryan, right? Dropped him in the first and then almost got beat up. And then dropped him again later. Or hurt him real bad in the first, sorry. But some people might say he wasn't hurt, he just slipped. I don't know. So people have been coming to my channel saying about Inoue. But all that to remain relevant. Because boxing moves on, right? And boxing is going to move on from Canelo, right? The Charlo twins. Do you guys remember like 10 years ago when they became champions and everyone was like, ooh, the twins, ooh, that's cool. Ooh. Boxing moved on while they were still champions because they didn't fight. Okay? Anyway, boxing needs a change. It needs a change in direction. This 2 title fights a year while all the titles, what good is it to have all these championship belts and have all these champions if one guy's going to pick up all the belts and then fight only once or twice a year? And Canelo's been saying for years, I'm going to fight, but be really active this year, 3 times, 4 times this year. No, 2 times every time if we're lucky, right? But all that stuff, like Tank Davis, right? Granted, he had a little bit of jail and stuff. It's been over a year since he fought. Granted, I don't think he has any titles right now. Maybe he's like a regular champion because they had to make room for the super champion. They had to make room to give Devin Haney special accolades. Anyway, boxing sucks because of all this shit. And nobody knows who to trust, so number one, you got to get rid of the judges. Okay, the judges, however, or have open scoring. People can boo. People can see the scores, right? I remember, like, how crazy is it? Like, okay, I'm not gonna wait until I see what happens in the second round to score the first round, right? See how close. Okay, yeah. That's what I thought. Okay, I give him round 1 and round 2 now. Nice. No. So the fact that you don't have to turn in your scorecard for who you think is winning the round immediately, the fact that it's not present, just goes to show that it's only done to continue encapsulating the corruption. And you have, I'm going to say this, and I want to say this, and I want to provoke them. I want them to come say something and try to tell me that I'm wrong. But you have idiots like Tim Bradley, idiots like Paulie Malignaggi, idiots like Chris Algieri saying, oh, well, if you do open scoring, then the guy who's winning is just going to run. What the fuck was it that Shakur Stevenson did? Right? Now, here's the thing. We had Shakur Stevenson protecting his lead. We had De Los Santos protecting his lead. Both of them didn't know that they needed to beat the other one up to win. So who won that fight? Well, I thought De Los Santos won the fight because literally Shakur Stevenson didn't land a single punch. He would be throwing his jab and then going, and it'd be like 3 inches short, and they would give him credit for a landed punch, and it was ridiculous. But neither one of those 2 retards knew enough about the scoring to know that they needed to go out there and win the fight. Devin Haney knew that he needed to win the fight. Devin Haney got hit and he got dropped and he came forward and he came like a warrior. But he knew he needed to win. There's another really good example that kind of slipped my mind, but it's really important for these guys to know where they stand. It's really important to know if they need to go for a knockout. Okay? People are already protect their leads. People already run if they don't want to fight. They already do that stuff. You're not going to just make it worse, right? And here's the thing. If you're just running and you're just pendulum stepping and the guy knows it because he's ahead, it just means the other guy gets to be more reckless. Right? Because everybody knows he's not really boxing or trying to score anymore. Anyway, we shouldn't have to watch Lomachenko versus Kambosos. Honestly, I hope it's the worst fight ever. I hope Kambosos finds a way to spoil that fight and make it ugly, make it terrible like he's so good at, make it low activity. And I still hope he loses because I don't want to have to see him in another fight. But I hope it's a stinker. I hope it's a Kambosos stinker. And the promoters learn that until they stop allowing these bums, these pillow-fisted, don't move their head, jab and grab, holding, ducking below the waist fighters until they stop rewarding these guys. They're going to continue to have stables full of bum fighters until they learn to start analyzing and reading the fighters that they're picking up and understanding how good a fighter is, how bad a fighter is. Okay? Until fighters are no longer allowed to hold and allowed to duck below the waist and allowed to foul. Okay? Because these guys that are like power punchers and the strong and hard punchers, like Cruz, who fought Rolly Romero, who'd you guys have rather had won that fight? Cruz or Rolly? Because if the referee didn't intervene and tell Rolly to stop holding his head down and grabbing and holding, Rolly would have won that fight. He would have outpointed Cruz, punched him in the face, hit him with a 2-3, and then hold him all night long. And, because he's a power puncher, it wouldn't have been as ugly of a fight. People would have been like, okay, well, I get why Cruz had to be more careful. Most likely not careful because of the punching power. Most likely be careful because if he's not careful, he's going to get grabbed. He's going to get his health pulled down because it has such a dramatic effect on your ability to throw punches. Surprise, when somebody's holding your head down and has you in a headlock, it's really hard to cross their line. But that's an example of a fight that would have went completely wayward. Completely different, profound effect on the fight. All because of the officiating. Anyway, fuck Kambosos. Fuck Eddie Hearn. Fuck Tim Bradley. And don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. And if you guys want to learn how to really fight, if you guys want to learn all the best ways, all the most efficient ways to get better at fighting, check out the Fouts Boxing Combat System. The drills and the patterns that I teach in there are going to be the easiest and fastest way for you to learn to understand what's going on in the ring, what's really going on in a fight, what's really important for you becoming a better fighter. Okay. Also, my guy is lagging on it, but I have a really big project coming out. And this would have been a really, really great video to introduce it, Mr. Charlie, if you're listening. You listen to all my videos while you work, but you're behind, brother. We got this program out, guys. But really, really big stuff coming ahead. So don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. If you guys are interested in learning boxing, stay tuned. Really, really, really big project coming out this month. Almost guaranteed. Okay. Really big.